Find the controller here. Okay. We are live. What is good, everybody? It is the Godfather of VR, the ageless one of the man, Lincoln Clay, and we are back with a live stream of GT Sport on PlayStation VR. And as the title suggests, this could be my last GT Sport stream. And I'm not even sure if it'll be my last PSVR stream. So, getting right to it, as the title suggests, or questions, is it time for me to go ahead and say goodbye to PlayStation VR? I can't give you a definite answer to that right now, but I will say that the answer should be yes. Hey DJ, how's it going? It's not quite okay, so all right, hear me out, DJ. I'm not done with VR, but I may be done with the current PSVR. When PSVR 2 comes out, I will tentatively buy it day one and then give it maybe a 6-month evaluation period. Sony's minimal information towards PSVR 2, along with the situation of the current PSVR. I just, so let's start with why I should get rid of, why I should go ahead and hang it up and be done with PlayStation VR, and then I'll explain to you why I hung on to it this long. Why I should get rid of it, bottom line is the headset is dead. This headset is in limbo right now. There's only a couple of games left coming out. I mean, the big, highly anticipated game that was supposed to hit this year for PlayStation VR was Moss Book 2. And I guess rumors are that the game basically flopped on PSVR. And I think a huge reason for that is that a lot of PlayStation VR owners know that the end is near for this headset. I don't know if they might, I don't know if they were looking to, I've not played VR since Elden Ring came out. Myself, this year in 2022, this is only my third time using this headset. The first time I used the headset was this year in 2022, was right before GT7 launched, because at that time I was still trying to debate whether or not I was going to keep the headset, and so I was kind of like doing what could possibly have been a farewell stream. And then the other time that I used it was when Alvo released on the Oculus Quest. And I came back and played it on PlayStation VR because I wanted to compare it and find out which version did I like playing better. Did I like playing it better on PlayStation VR and using the aim controller, or did I like the freedom of having my hands to move around as I wish on the Oculus Quest? And I would probably say that as far as that goes, it doesn't matter. But if someone were to ask me which version of Alvo would you recommend, I probably would tell them the Quest version because there isn't going to be any tracking issues. Throughout the years, the tracking issues has been frustrating with this headset. The aim controller, DualShock 4 controllers, even the Move controllers have display tracking issues. You've got to keep your headset as a trophy. Think what it's done for you, Lincoln. Hang on to the wall. Well, that's a catchy one, DJ, because it's not just the headset. Um, I'm going to come back around to that for a second. Let me stay on track and talk about why I should get rid of the headset. Again, the headset's dead. I think the poor Moss sales was evidence of that. Sony isn't really announcing anything that's supposed to be, coming in 2022, other than when we got Moss Book 2. Now, there is supposed to be a couple of more games coming out this year, which I actually think is a bad thing. The NFL Pro era that was shown at the Meta Games Showcase, I believe that game is coming to Quest and PlayStation VR. That I consider that somewhat of a bad thing because that means, being that this is an official NFL game, it's probably going to come out in August, right before the NFL season is going to start, to get people in that football mood to want to buy the game. That means that we will not, even though the rumors are coming out that we might not get the headset until first quarter of next year. The fact that that game right there coming to PlayStation VR means that, in my opinion, at the very earliest, we could get the new headset in September of this year, if it's still going to come out this year. I would not be in this stream right now if it wasn't for a PSVR headset. DJ, I owe this headset a lot. It gave me my first taste of VR. It showed me what the potential of VR was. But at the same time, the stuff that PSVR was lacking is what drove me over to PC. There was a number of games that I wanted from PSVR, and they either took too long to deliver them or they didn't deliver them at all. And one of them was definitely racing games. I mean, they tried to give it to us in the beginning with Drive Club. It was online, and it was 8-player online, multiplayer online, but it was incredibly blurry. And I was hoping that it would get cleared up. At the time, I had no idea how much VR taxes the hardware. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of the games were blurry. And then you have the PlayStation Pro, where I'm sure they could have made it look better on the PlayStation Pro, but I'm sure that the developers aimed for the lowest common denominator, which was the PS4, and that's what we got, was the PS4 version. No PS4 Pro version, no PS4 patch, nothing. I mean, I think only a couple of games out of the 6 years that we've had PlayStation VR, and games have looked horrible on the PlayStation VR, only a handful of them got the Pro patch. And in the case of Firewall, it didn't really seem to make a difference. I thought the aliasing was still terrible, even with the patch that was supposed to reduce that. So, yeah, it basically comes down to the headset is dead. I think the only people that are still using this headset right now are the hardcore, I don't want to call them fanboys, but the hardcore PSVR fans. They're still using this headset, and YouTubers that have built their channel off of PSVR are still using it. But I suspect that deep down inside, they know that this headset is dead. It is what they built their YouTube channel on. So they have to continue to promote this headset until the very last day. But these YouTubers that I'm speaking of have expressed their anxiousness for PSVR 2. And to me, that is a roundabout admission that they're ready to be done with PSVR and ready to go on to PSVR 2 and get all the games that has to offer. DJ, you said the PSVR has been my only VR experience to this day. I know exactly what you are saying. I'm ready for the next level now. I've not seen a PSVR headset on a shelf in a shop for years. I've walked into a Walmart in my town, and it had the Iron Man bundle, PlayStation VR, and that shit had been sitting, that one headset has been sitting in the glass for 2 months. The headset is dead. There are no highly anticipated games coming, in my opinion, except for the 2 games that I mentioned, the NFL Pro Era, which is supposed to come to the Quest and PSVR, and I believe the Ghostbusters game is supposed to come to Quest as well as PSVR. That is another bit of bad news because I think it's been rumored that the Ghostbuster game is probably going to come out around December, so it can be used as a game, so it can be used as a system seller to move some Quest headsets for Christmas. That being said, that also falls in line with the rumor that we might not get PSVR 2 until next year. So, other than those 2 games that I've mentioned, what are we going to get from PSVR 2 for the rest of the year? A lot of developers that were developing games for this headset have stopped, and they are moving towards PSVR 2. And then some developers, like the developers of Zero Caliber, they've stopped talking about that game, or they've stopped talking about that altogether for PlayStation VR. They've talked about PlayStation VR for the longest. They kept trying to tell us that it's still coming along fine. Development is still coming along fine. Then they'd run into a hiccup. They'd run into this. It has to be this way because of the control mapping, this and that and that and this. Now we're not hearing from them at all. We have not heard from them for months. So I'm led to believe that they are just going to go ahead and bring Zero Caliber to PSVR 2, which would be the better move because then they can just pretty much port the PC version right on over to the headset. There's a ton of PC games. While a lot of games have come to PlayStation VR, there's a lot of games that have not, because of the Move controllers not having thumbsticks, because the console not having enough power. Another game that was supposed to come to PlayStation VR that hasn't happened yet was PokerStars VR. And I can tell you that I don't think it's coming to PlayStation VR because of the combination of the headset nearing the end of its life cycle, as well as the console being too weak. Because I've played this, maybe I can't say that because of the console being too weak, because if they got it on the Quest, they can definitely get it on this. So maybe it's just because the headset is nearing the end of its life cycle, because in my opinion, anything that can get on the Quest there's no reason why it shouldn't be able to get on here in terms of the console specs. Therefore, I think anything that comes to the Oculus Quest but does not come to PSVR is because I'm guessing either because of the controller issues or because they know that this is pretty much the end of the road for PlayStation VR. DJ, do you think the headset for PSVR 2 have already been made, or do they still need to be produced? We also facing an economic crisis. DJ, with PSVR 2, I think they got headsets. The question is do they have enough headsets? Do they feel they have enough headsets for launch? Something that I think is kind of a oxymoron is that they want mass adoption for PSVR 2, but they're not doing anything to market it. We're just getting, we might get a tweet from them like every 2 months or something. And whenever they make a tweet, the only reason I end up finding out about it is because the Console War fanboys are using PSVR 2 as ammunition against the Xbox and say, hey, this is another option that we got. You know, we've got exclusives. We got compelling single player games. We're going to get PlayStation VR. We have services too. We have PlayStation Now and stuff like that. And I think they just throw PSVR in the mix to use it as ammunition against the Xbox. And that's usually how I find out whenever Sony or somebody makes some kind of tweet relative to PSVR 2. Because I'm not in the know. I don't get any kind of notifications from PlayStation Network or anything like that because I'm not really signed up for it in that aspect. So to answer your question, I think they have headsets. We all know that the original rumor was that this headset was going to probably launch right around Christmas time, which, naturally would have made sense. But when it got rumored that the headset was going to get pushed back to first quarter 2023, one of the rumors that came out was that the headset was being pushed back in order to give Sony more time to get more consoles out in the wild. That makes absolutely zero sense. Why? Because let's look at the percentage. 115 million PlayStation 4s were sold, right? By now, they've probably sold 6 million headsets. So I'm not going to crunch it down to the exact number. Let's just say that the 6 million headsets that have been sold represent 5% of the PlayStation 4 consoles that are out in the wild. It is a safe bet, in my opinion, to say that, let's say there's 50 million PS5s out in the wild. My guess is only 15 or 20% of those people at the most may own a PSVR 2 headset. So for the sake of making my point, let's stick with the 5%. Let me see. T-Dubs played some last night. Nordschleife and Porsche 919 hybrid, so fun. So much fun. GT7 is where it's at for me. Tantrum, how's it going? So, to finish making my point, let's say that, like right now, I actually made a post today. Sony has shipped 19 million PS5s. So, just to make the math easier, let's say that they shipped 20 million. Let's round it off to 20 million. Let's say that based on the percentage of PSVR attach rate to the PS4 console is 5%. So, out of that 20 million PS5s that's been shipped, only 1 million of those will own a PSVR 2. So, if you delay PSVR 2 a few more months so you can sell a few more PS5s, at the most, you're probably going to sell maybe 1 million heads. You're going to sell 1 million consoles. When you break that down to the headsets, you're going to sell 50,000 headsets based on that 5% attach rate of PSVR relative to PS4. So it makes no sense to delay the headset just so you can sell 500,000 consoles in order to sell an extra 50,000 headsets. It makes no sense. If they are delaying the headset in order to manufacture more headsets, that makes sense. In the meantime, we're left in limbo with the current PSVR. No highly anticipated games to speak of coming from Sony. And PSVR 2 still possibly a year out. And at this stage of the headset life, it is grossly overpriced. This headset is still selling for $350 and it's only got a few more months of life left. Sony needs to, in my opinion, they need to knock that headset down to $200 and liquidate what's left of those headsets and still try to make a few dollars off of people buying games before the year is up. If you try to ride this all the way out and still price that headset at $350, nobody's going to buy it knowing that the thing's going to die in a few months. Therefore, you have sold no headset and then no software to be sold to go along with it. Knock that price down to $200. Go ahead and eat whatever manufacturing costs for the headsets that are still sitting on store shelves. Eat that cost and get those things off the shelf and liquidate whatever headsets you have left so you can subsidize it by people buying games. Because in my opinion, PlayStation VR owners have the biggest attach rate when it comes to games. I think we buy the most games because VR offers so many different experiences. With the console, the flat screen gamers who have a PS4, PS5, whatever, it's the normal shit. They have Madden, they have Call of Duty, and they don't have a lot of games outside of that. Whereas PSVR owners have a ton of games because they want different experiences in VR. Today, I want to fly. Tomorrow, I want to be in a submarine. The day after that, I want to be in a race car. The day after that, I want to be on a battlefield shooting at somebody, and so forth and so forth and so forth. Therefore, PSVR owners own a lot of games, the ones that really, really love PSVR. That being said, get those remaining VR headsets off shelves at Walmart, Target, wherever they are. Take the loss and liquidate those headsets and try to make as much money as you can off of game sales before the year is up. Because currently with the headset sitting at $350, it's going nowhere. DJ, I completely agree about slashing the price of the PSVR. One good thing about PSVR games are they are always on sale. A great Tantrum. People have moved on to the Quest. That's all the more reason, Tantrum, for them to knock the price down of PSVR 2. Because what if somebody wants to get into VR for the first time and they walk into Walmart and they see PSVR Iron Man bundle sitting in their case for $350. They want to buy the headset and then they get told at the last second, oh, by the way, you also got to have a PS4 with it. And if you don't have a PS4 and you manage to get your hands on the PS5, you have to contact Sony in order to get the camera adapter to use PSVR on the PS5. Or you can spend $300 for this Oculus Quest and take it with you anywhere you want and be able to play your games anywhere. Vegeta, why are you streaming on your console? I always stream on my console. When you guys see me streaming on PS5, that's because I'm streaming from the, I stream from the PS5. When you guys see me playing GT7, I'm streaming it from the PS5. You don't stream like this? Yes, I do. The reason why it looks like this, oh, I forgot to tell everybody. Or, well, if you've seen the title, your webcam and wheel. Vegeta, the reason why you're seeing what you're seeing is because I'm streaming from the PlayStation Pro. And the PlayStation Pro has a camera. I could turn that camera on right now and let you guys see me, But the problem is that once I get ready to go into VR and I start playing this game in VR, it's gonna shut that image off, and you won't be able to see it. Yeah, there you go, Vegeta. And that's one of the reasons I'm having this stream, is because my PS4 is packed away. So not only could this be my last PSVR stream, my PS4 Pro, I'm debating about putting it up for sale. I haven't been using it. When I got my PS5, I kept. Now this takes us into why I kept my PSVR Pro as well as my PSVR headset. When I got my PS5, I kept my PS4 Pro for a couple of reasons. One is I could put my PS4 Pro in my bedroom and it would be convenient for me to jump on PSVR in my bedroom because I'm in my bedroom right now. The other thing is storage. I want to keep my PS5 games on my PS5 and wanted to keep my PS4 games and my PSVR games on my PS4 Pro. That 1 terabyte hard drive is just too small to put all these huge PS5 games on there, along with huge PS4 games, along with PSVR games. So storage was another reason why I kept my PS4 Pro. Let's see here, Vegeta. You said VR is nice, but the market needs to push more into it. That's this entire PSVR generation, Vegeta, has been one of Sony's shortcoming. Is they did not market the PSVR. If they would have marketed the PSVR the way Facebook marketed the Oculus Quest, they probably would have sold 10 million headsets. But they didn't. I mean, I found out about a lot of games coming to PSVR through YouTubers. You know, whether they were the first to report it, whether they had sources, whatever. A lot of the games I did not know was coming to PSVR if I had to wait for Sony to tell me that it was coming to PlayStation VR. Only games like Iron Man VR was one of the games where they went out of their way to let everybody know this is coming to PlayStation VR. That is also when they advertised Iron Man VR. That was when they had like that VR state of play that pissed everybody off. I mean, they pissed a lot of people off because first of all, you introduce an Iron Man game right on the heels of the success of Spider-Man game, of the Spider-Man game. So you had the audience thinking that, oh shit, we just got done with Spider-Man. Now we're getting Iron Man. And then they find out it was a VR game and that pissed them off. Then on that state of play, you go off and it makes it a whole VR state of play and showed a lot of $2 indie games that nobody was interested in. And it pissed a lot of people off. And after that, Sony act like they were scared to talk about PSVR. And in my opinion, basically relied on YouTubers to spread the word about PlayStation VR in its upcoming games. That being said, I did my part. I did more than my job to help promote this headset. I championed this headset for about 3 years. Done tons of PSVR streams. This headset has run its course. Vegeta, you said they dip their toes in everything, but they don't commit. And then DJ, you said, yeah, developers have always had to push their own games. Yeah. And developers have relied on YouTubers to push their games. Hence, you have the gamer tags, the Steve Knows. I would probably say, gamer tag in my opinion, was probably one of the biggest tools for PlayStation VR. Him and Brian Paul of PSVR without parole, and maybe Polish Paul. Um, PSVR Frank started out being the man, but once he like disappeared, Brian Paul, in my opinion, became the man. And after him, you have the Polish Pauls and the gamer tags. Those were the guys that pushed. Those were the guys who pushed PlayStation VR. In terms of big YouTubers, that in my opinion made a difference. Yeah, I did my job, but my channel's small and it only reached a couple of people compared to what they have done. But I did more than my share to help push this headset. Great Tantrum. You said Sony did an all VR state of play and it didn't go well with the audience at large. Yeah, I was saying that. It pissed them off. And after that, Sony act like they were scared to talk about PlayStation VR. And in my opinion, that was a slap in the face because... sorry about that, folks. One second again, folks. All right. All right, there we go. I had to reset the screen because of the damn drift. I get tired of this damn drift. The screen that you guys are looking at, probably in about 20 minutes is going to shift over to the left, and then I have to hit the recentering button to bring it back in front of me. I've dealt with that bullshit. I'm tired of the drifting. Dan Sock, is it time to say goodbye? Only you know, broski. As I said at the beginning of this stream, is it time for me to say goodbye to PSVR? The answer should be yes. But the answer that I'm giving is I don't know. It's possible. I've only, as I said earlier, I've only used this headset twice this year. It's been mostly PSVR and Quest. I haven't even been playing Quest all that much, especially since I made the jump over to sim racing. Since I made the jump over to sim racing, I haven't really played a ton of VR as far as streaming. I still play some VR games when I'm not on YouTube, because actually I've gone back and revisited some of the PC VR games. And I have an appreciation for them now because now I can enjoy them. Case in point, I've been playing LA Noire, the VR case files, and I'm really, really enjoying that game. When the game came to PlayStation VR and it came to PC VR, I didn't give that game the props that it deserves because I was too busy criticizing VR for giving us 360 games. I was like, okay, this is a start, with Skyrim and LA Noire and Doom. But I was like, I don't want this to define VR because you're not going to get people to get on board with VR to go back and play old games. And to me, that's what separated the PS4 user base from the Xbox One user base, because Microsoft didn't produce shit as far as games goes, so they sold everybody on backwards compatibility and made everybody think backwards compatibility is what you wanted, whereas the PlayStation 4 crowd was getting new, compelling games, beautiful games, and I can't see them wanting to spend $500 for a headset to go back and revisit 360 games that they have already played. Therefore, I was a little bit harsh on LA Noire. I said we need new games, new compelling games that will bring people to PlayStation VR. We need Spider-Man in VR. We need God of War in VR. We need MLB to show in VR. We need a Madden in VR. And those games that I ran off, I figured that Sony would take a chance on the exclusives. They might invest in those games, but like third-party publishers like EA, they're not going to spend millions of dollars developing a Madden game for VR, and there's only like 500,000 headsets out there that they can sell it to. So no, it wasn't going to happen. Now with PSVR 2, that could be a different story because, I think the Oculus Quest has sold well over 12 million headsets, and a lot of people are using it as a PC headset. We still have the PC headsets out there, the Valve Index, which I understand is still doing great to this day in terms of sales because it's a sought-after item that's still hard to get. The Oculus Rift, the Rift S, CV1, those headsets are still out there. So those, you can still sell games to that audience. That being said, yes, now it might be the time for EA to go ahead and pull the trigger and make a Madden in VR. But no, like 3-4 years ago, hell no. It would have been, they would have been throwing money down the toilet, spending millions of dollars developing Madden, and maybe you only sell it to 50,000 people. Tantrum, what is sad is that there are lots of great VR games on PSVR, but almost nobody knows about them, or they do, but do not know how great it is. And to me, that falls on Sony's hands for not marketing those games. I feel like throughout PSVR's life cycle, I feel like the only games that Sony really went out of their way to market was games like Astrobot Rescue Mission, Firewall, Blood and Truth, and Iron Man VR. I think other than that, they really didn't go out of their way to market a lot of the VR games that was on PlayStation VR. Again, that if it wasn't for a lot of YouTubers, the gamer tags, the PSVRs without paroles, the Polish Pauls, the PSVR Franks, we wouldn't have known about a lot of these games. Tantrum, you said the only place you find VR games from Sony is on their YouTube channel. And in my opinion, if Sony, in my opinion, does not market PSVR 2 the way Facebook marketed the Quest, they will fall way short of their goals with PSVR 2. I'm not going to say that it's going to flop. It's not going to flop because a lot of people are really excited about that Horizon Call of the Mountain that they saw when, when Guerrilla Games released that small clip. That being said, PSVR 2 is not going to fail because I think that's going to be a huge launch game for the headset, and it could be a system seller. DJ, they did demos in early days, and that stopped. Well, that's how I ended up getting the PlayStation VR. Every week, my son would ask me. He said, "Can we stop at Best Buy and try out the PlayStation VR?" Yeah, and for 2 months straight, we was doing that right up until they stopped doing the demos. And then he asked me, he said, "Are you going to get me one for Christmas?" I don't know. We'll see. But I bought it day one and hid it in the closet and gave it to him for Christmas. And he took it home. His room was too small, so he wasn't able to use it. So he brought it back here and lost interest in it. Wasn't playing it. I was going to sell it. And then I decided I got to give this thing a chance because of how much money we spent for it. And I tried it and fell in love with it. And then once I fell in love and started getting passionate about VR, that's when I started wanting more out of PlayStation VR. That's when I started wanting the first-person shooter games, and we didn't have them at the time. That's when I wanted more racing games, and we weren't getting them at the time. That's when I wanted more multiplayer games, and we weren't getting them at the time, so I had to make the jump over to PC. Tantrum, the only people excited PSVR 2 are those who know what VR is all about. Yes, there are those who didn't care before are interested, but many. It looks like your comment stopped right there. But I do think that I do think PSVR 2 is going to do a lot more. They're going to sell a lot more headsets than they did the original PSVR, because I think the Horizon franchise sells itself. I don't think Sony really has to go out of their way to advertise that. That's going to... I think when they finally do reveal PSVR 2 and they start showing some games and shit like that, I think if they give us another piece of that Horizon Call of the Mountain game, that's going to be the icing on the cake. That, you know, PSVR 2, if it did release this year, would be the must-have item for Christmas. So, and I think to get ready to wrap this up, I went on to say many will say no because it's not wireless, but I know you mean to say wireless. Honestly, those who were screaming that the reason why they didn't buy PSVR is because it's wireless, they are full of shit. They never wanted to buy a VR headset in the first place. That was their excuse not to get one. Because if you really wanted a wireless headset, you would have bought the Oculus Quest. $300 is very affordable for a headset. A standalone headset that does not require you to be connected to a console or connected to the PC in order to play VR games. And you can take it with you anywhere. So if they were worried about wireless VR, they would have bought that headset. So for those who were saying that they didn't buy PlayStation VR because it's not wireless, are full of shit. I don't care who they are. DJ, it's still not been confirmed it's a full game, has it? Could be another Dick Wild game. I never played Dick Wild. I would like to think that this Horizon Call of the Wild, I think it will be a full game. The question is how many hours of gameplay is it going to be? If I had to put my finger on it, I think it's probably going to be about 8 hours of gameplay. 8 to 10 hours of gameplay, which I think would be okay. So I'll be ready to jump on the track here in a second and do a lap with this Mazda 787B. And you know what? So just like that. So another reason why I kept my PlayStation VR is because my son comes over every Saturday. When he comes over, I give him the PC. And he plays VR chat on the PC. Naturally, that means the only options I have to play VR will be Quest or PlayStation VR. And there's just some games that you can't play on the Quest, like case in point, Star Wars Squadrons. That is the very reason why I bought Star Wars Squadrons on both PC and PlayStation VR. So when my son comes over on Saturday and he takes over the PC, I can jump on the PlayStation VR version of Star Wars Squadrons. That was another reason I hung on to my headset. Now, another reason why I'm debating about whether it's time to say goodbye to this headset is because of the second PC that I built. Those of you who've been following me know that I built two gaming PCs affectionately named Voltron and Voltron Jr. Both of them are very capable PCs. Voltron has a 3080 Ti with an i9-12900K. Voltron Jr. has a 2070 with an i7 11700K, which I will be upgrading that one to a 3070 Ti. I was going to buy one a couple of days ago off of eBay, but it got sold before I can get to it. So I will have two formidable PCs that can get the job done. So now, when my son comes over on the weekend, he goes straight over to Voltron Jr. and plays games on Voltron Jr. because it's in the dining room and it's in the dining room and it's very convenient. It's in the dining room right at the computer desk. So my son can go sit at the computer desk, put on the headset, and play VR chat, still sitting in the gaming chair. Me, on the other hand, Voltron is connected to my sim racing rig. And because now that I have Voltron Jr., I don't have to roll that rig out of the way anymore. When my son came over and wanted the PC, I had to move the rig out of the way. But now that I have Voltron Jr., I don't have to move the rig anymore. He goes straight over to Voltron Jr. Not only that, he prefers Voltron Jr. because of the convenience of the second computer. So now that I have two gaming computers, that basically is one of the big reasons why I have not been playing PlayStation VR. So now, the very last reason, before we get on this track, why I think where I'm saying that it might be time to finally go ahead and let this headset go, is because of this very car that you're looking at right now, the Mazda 787B. I have become fascinated with this car. It's not so much the car itself, but I'm going to call my laptop. Steve, I think. So the next big upgrade be the Pimax 12K. Ooh, yeah. So VR sim racing has made a dream come true for me. When I was a kid, you guys heard me say it so many times that I had dreamed of being a race car driver when I was a kid. I dreamed of being able to drive exotic cars and stuff. And so I always had a passion for sim racing games. And throughout the years, as these games get better graphics, and more realistic telemetries and stuff like that, it became more immersive and closer to reality, in my opinion. And VR was next level shit. It's mind blowing shit to be able to sit in this car in VR and go 200 miles an hour down the road. Is mind blowing shit. So the 24 Hours of Le Mans is my favorite race. And there are a number of games that has variances of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. And there are like several eras that I'm fascinated with when it comes to the 24 Hours of Le Mans. I'm fascinated with the current era because of the new Toyota hypercar that just came out, I think last year, the GR010 hypercar. Before that, I was fascinated with the 2017 Ford GT. And then other eras that I'm fascinated with is this era with the Mazda 787B, because it was the first Japanese car to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and I think it still remains the only car with a rotary engine that won Le Mans. The car was banned the next year, and the way the media made it seem, they made it seem as if Mazda cheated or something like that. And I had spent years trying to do research to find out exactly why they got banned. And they didn't get banned because of anything they did. The FIA wanted cars to conform to Formula One type rules. And I think they wanted all cars to use a 3.5 liter engine. And so I think like non-aspirated engines were going to be outlawed, and the rotary engine was going to be one of them. So the 1991 24 Hours of Le Mans was going to be the last year that the rotary engine would be allowed to participate in the race. So this was going to be Mazda's last chance to win the race, and Mazda had some bad luck right up until 1991. So long story short, they won the race. The rules kicked in the next year. The rules about banning these engines. The rules kicked in 1992, and that was it, and the car was banned. So now, so coming back to the video game part of it, because I went off the track giving a history lesson about this car. So I said this in my Assetto Corsa mod stream that a lot of these video games, what I was looking for was to be able to relive Le Mans of any era in VR. I want to relive the 90s in VR. I want to relive 2017 when Ford won it. I want to drive the modern cars now. I want to relive the 70s era when the Porsche 917K won it. But all these games had different aspects of Le Mans, but none of them had the complete experience. So with this game, relative to Le Mans, you have the track. You have some of the cars. You have this car. You have the Sauber Mercedes. I think you had the Nissan car, and I think might have had the Porsche 919 or something like that at the time. And I think you had the Toyota, I think the TRO 50, the car they used before they switched up to the hypercar. The problem with that is that this game in VR does not have multiplayer. It's either time trials or 1 versus 1 versus the computer. You jump over to Project Cars 2. It had the tracks. It had some of the cars. But it was also missing some of the cars. It was in VR, so it gave me like 75% of the experience. It had the track, it had some of the cars, but it didn't have all the cars. In particular, it did not have this car, the 787B. You jump over to Automobilista 2, and they have a lot of cars, a lot of different classes of cars, but they don't have a lot of cars within those classes. So they don't have either. They don't have this car, and they don't have the track, Circuit de la Sarthe, that I'm speaking of. So before I came across the Assetto Corsa mods, the only way that I could drive this car in VR was on GT Sport. And that was one of the reasons why I kept my headset. That was one of the reasons why I kept my PS4 Pro. To be able to drive this car. Because this car is memorable. This car is part of history. I watched a documentary about this car. And they said that this car was so loud during the 1991 24 Hours of Le Mans that the announcers had to warn the audience that the car was coming so they could cover their ears as it goes by. And again, this game was the only game where I could drive this car in VR. Now, my good friend Ham, he told me about Assetto Corsa in the mods, and it went in one ear and out the other because I was so focused on Assetto Corsa Competizione. It never entered my mind that you could jump over there and get the full Le Mans experience. All I could think about is that I don't want to drive, Toyota Corollas and stuff like that. I just want to stick to my GT3s on Assetto Corsa Competizione. So what made me jump over to Assetto Corsa in the mods, I stumbled across a video. I think it might have been Jimmy Broadbent, where he was driving this car in VR on Assetto Corsa. So I started doing the research and was like, okay, now it's time to get this mod shit. So I already had the game, but I watched an instructional video of how to install the mods. So I installed the mods. I went and got this car, and I went and got Circuit de la Sarthe. And for those of you that saw it a couple of days ago, I streamed Assetto Corsa with the mods, and I was able to drive this car in VR against a full grid of cars, something that you can't do on this game. And I've never raced before, but it felt so 1990s. It felt like I was there in that era. The only criticism I have of this car on the Assetto Corsa mods is that I don't feel like the car is very loud. But that could easily be fixed by wearing some headphones and cranking the shit all the way up. So no big deal there. Um, One speed. Sup, Lincoln? Mazda all good except rust. We also need the 90s Le Mans Panasonic Toyota GTO GT1. And see, and that's where a set of Corsa mods come in. So one of the spots where you can get all the mods from is race department. Now I paid like $15 for a 1 year membership, and I have access to thousands of cars and thousands of tracks to add to a set of Corsa. I just search for what I'm looking for, download the file, and drag it over into a set of Corsa. And then I run the game and then just pick that car from the menus. That being said, there's virtually no car or no track that I can't get and play on the set of Corsa. And because of that, I do not have to wait for PSVR 2. Now, see, the way things was looking, in order for me to get before I came across the Assetto Corsa mods, the only way I was going to get the full VR Le Mans experience was to wait until PSVR 2 comes out, because I'll be able to drive this car, the Sauber Mercedes, the Porsche 917K, and presumably the Toyota hypercar whenever they get it, because it's rumored that they're going to get that car. And that was going to be, at the time, I thought that was going to be the only way that I was going to be able to drive those cars against a full grid in VR online. And that was one of the reasons why I was getting so antsy about Sony being silent about PSVR 2. I don't need it now. Now that I got now I'm going to get PSVR 2, but I don't need it now. Other than the PSVR 2 exclusives that we're going to get, everything that's going to come to PSVR 2 is has already either been on PC or is going to come to PC. So now, the Assetto Corsa mods give me that full Le Mans experience in VR that I've been looking for. It's been under my nose this whole time, and I didn't jump on it. I feel so dumb. Great Tantrum. Project Cars 2 have this car thing. No, they do not. I checked. They have the Sauber Mercedes, but they do not have this car. Not that I know of. I'll double check, but to my knowledge, they do not have it. Because I checked it out last week. Because I was actually playing Project Cars 2 last week because I was racing the Ford GT on Circuit de la Sarthe. One speed. Mazda is so badass, I had to get a die cast. And Tantrum, you said content manager. So, how long have we been on air now? How long has this stream been going on? In any case, all that stuff combined, the PSVR headset being dead. Nobody's buying it, in my opinion. Sony's not trying to take this headset out with a bang. They're not advertising any games. Other than the NFL Pro era and possibly Ghostbusters that I mentioned, there are no compelling games on the horizon for this headset for this year. And then you factor in the Assetto Corsa mods are giving me the full experience that I'm looking for. Any class of car, any track, any car, production or race car, I can get those mods and race it on any track, any highway, whatever. I no longer have to wait for PSVR 2. Therefore, I don't really need this headset anymore. the um now that I have the Assetto Corsa mods, this could conceivably be my last GT Sports stream. And the only game left this exclusive on PSVR relative to myself and my taste in games would be Firewall. But the aim controller drift had become unbearable to the point where I didn't want to play the game anymore. Not only that, Firewall does not have dedicated servers. So whenever the host leaves, the entire room shuts down and you have to find another room. We have plenty of first-person shooter games on the Oculus Quest as well as PC VR. I like Firewall, but I no longer need it. Got a ton of racing games in VR, and when it comes to there's also Alvo. Alvo is also on the Oculus Quest, and the Oculus Quest graphics of Alvo look damn close to PlayStation VR. The only reason for me to hang on to Alvo, to play Alvo on PlayStation VR, is the aim controller. That would be the biggest thing that I would be giving up by giving up this headset. In the case of Firewall, again, the aim controller drift has become unbearable. It's not their fault because there's a bunch of shit that drifts on PlayStation VR. Tantrum, a set of course of physics versus Gran Turismo 7 for LMS cars. Physics, I'm not really crying about physics. Because I'll cry about physics for about 1 or 2 days. After that, I shut up and start trying to learn it, which is exactly what I did with GT7. I complained about how I felt like they were doing more than trying to teach you how to trail brake with GT7. They were making it the rule, where if you don't trail brake into every corner, it's like they let your car understeer right off the track, or depending on what track you're on, you might get snap oversteer. I complained about it a couple of days, and then I learned it. Then I had to adjust to it. That's that. So the physics, is not an issue on any game that I play, whether I like them or not. If I'm going to continue to play the game, then I got to get used to them. DJ, you said you're not on the Quest? Well, if you have a gaming PC and you have a PC VR headset, good enough. And that's another thing, that I've gone back and revisited games that are not on PlayStation VR that are great PC games. I never finished Half-Life Alyx. And I went back and revisited that game. And then when I seen that game through Voltron with that 3080 Ti, how sharp that picture was. It was mind-blowing. This headset right here is a 1080p headset. And some of the games are blurry. Versus my Oculus Quest 2 on Voltron, I'm running that headset at 2736p. Everything that I look at through the Oculus Quest is razor sharp. And the foveated rendering to me is not a non-topic, because the entire field of view is clear. Whereas some headsets has that sweet spot where you can see everything clearly and everything else is blurry. You should try Overload. It's like Descent in VR. On PC, of course. I mean, it's worth looking into. Especially if it's a dedicated PC game. I was playing Lone Echo 2. until my Alienware crashed and I had to re-download it, and now I got to start over from scratch. I got to start over from the start. So to wrap this up, and then we can go ahead and get on the track. I can think of about 20 reasons to go ahead and get rid of this headset, and I can only think of about maybe 2 reasons to keep it. My reasons for getting rid of this headset outnumber my reasons for keeping it 10-1. So it's not just the headset. If I get rid of the headset, I'm also going to get rid of my PS4 Pro. And I'm in my bedroom sitting at my Thrustmaster T150 racing wheel. If I get rid of my PSVR as well as my PS4 Pro, there's no reason. Well, let me take that back. I was going to say there's no reason for me to keep this T150. But actually, I can actually still use this T150 on Voltron Jr. Because I have a second gaming PC now. So I can play a set of Corsa Competizione on either of those PCs. Both of them are adequate. So okay, with that being said, I think it is time to do a lap or two in this legendary car. And yes, we are going back to Circuit della Sarthe. I want to feel like I'm in the 90s. I like checking out Dreams from time to time again in VR. I have Dreams Tantrum, but I haven't dug too deep into it. And Mr. Ham, how goes it? The reason why I'm getting set to get on the track here in a second. In fact, let's just go ahead and fire it up. Oh, we're looking for the arcade. So yeah, let's go ahead and fire it up. We'll do the VR drive, and we have to do Circuit della Sarthe with the chicanes. And we have to do noon. And here we go. Car's not starting up. There we go. I will say they did a tremendous job. The sound effects of this car, they did an absolute tremendous job capturing the sound of this car. Whoa! Gotta get used to being on this T. I gotta get used to being on this T150 again. Hey, thanks for popping in. Got to get a shifter? I'm on the Thrustmaster T150. If you're talking about getting a shifter for a set of Corsa mods, when I drive this car on a set of Corsa, yeah, you would be absolutely right. But for this, no, I'm on a Thrustmaster T150 that's connected to a coffee table. Oh shit. All that kidney's back on the coffee table. Yeah, back on the coffee table. Woo. Wait a minute, he got past me. I love the wind noise too. Nice line work, thank you, sir. LMS on Northlight, I'll tell you what I'll do. Because I'm being honest, PlayStation VR is kind of blurry, so it's kind of hard to see Northlight through this headset. So the next time I do a set of Corsa, I'll do it on that. I can do it on this track because I know this track like the back of my hand. So I don't necessarily have to have, the track doesn't necessarily have to be clear. If you look at this track, you'll see the blue markers everywhere. That's because Polyphony Digital knew this shit was blurry and people was gonna have a hard time seeing it. So they placed all these blue markers everywhere so you would know where the corners are at. Oh, that's a personal best. Yeah, Polyphony Digital knew that this headset was blurry, so they put those blue markers, those reference markers, at pretty much all the critical corners, because without those blue markers, if you're somebody who doesn't know this track, you're gonna fly right off the track. I never had a problem with image. In my case, Tantrum, with this game in particular, when you're traveling at 200 miles an hour and you don't know that a corner's coming up, by the time you see it, it's too late. Now, in the case of Assetto Corsa Competizione, especially now that I've got a PC that's powerful enough for me to see it clearly through the headset, a clear picture, as well as me knowing the track very well, then I can be super aggressive and don't have to worry about being on the lookout for something popping up at the last second. Nordschleife is a very long track. And for as much as I have practiced on that track, I still don't know every single corner of that track. So there's going to be moments where, oh shit, I forgot about this corner and I fly right off of it. Let's do one more with the Sauber Mercedes. I haven't done that. I haven't driven that car in a while either. Same track. Because, I mean, this could be the swan song. Where's my Sauber Mercedes? There it is. Another iconic car. Now, the year that Mazda won the 1991 Le Mans, this car was in first place. They were favored to win. But I guess the race was grueling on the car and it was starting to take a toll on the car. And so I guess they were running slower to try to conserve the car. And when the team at Mazda with Johnny Herbert and the other drivers realized that, they turned the heat up and started putting pressure on them and forcing them to drive the car faster. And the car ended up breaking down and had to go into the garage and it was done. And that put Mazda in the lead, and that was the end of the race. think I've gotten this car up to 220 miles an hour. Yeah, we're doing 220, 225. Gotta go, Tantrum. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. I'm going to wrap it up after I do these couple of laps. I think this car gets up to 200 miles an hour fairly quick. After I get done doing these 2 laps, I'm going to give you guys one more piece of history about the 787B, and then we're going to wrap it up. PSVR blew you away when it first. Yeah, J-Wags. How you doing, man? Good video today. Yeah, it's good to see J-Wags back. 326, huh? Okay, I think that's gonna do it for me. Before I get ready to go, I'll give you guys one last piece of history. So, all right, PSVR blew me away when it first came out and made a good VR experience somewhat obtainable. Resident Evil VR 7 is the best. Is best good tier. Thank you, yelling like you're actually racing. Hey, like that is one of the things I absolutely love about GT Sport in VR. These cars, and I'm wearing these earbuds. So the car is loud. I hear wind noise. I hear rattling. You know, I hear the road effects. All that stuff is loud. So I feel like I gotta yell to be heard. You know. So yeah, sorry about that. And I already have this Beetle that they gave me. Last piece of history before I get out of here about the Mazda 787B. When they were getting this car ready for the race, they had the car putting out over 900 horsepower. But they detuned the car to 700 horsepower because they felt that 700 horsepower was what they needed to keep the car reliable so it wouldn't break down, but still have enough horsepower to keep up with the rest of the pack. So they could have tuned it to 900 horsepower and, you know, could have been been one of the leaders of the race, but the reliability of the car would have been in question. The car might have broke down. But because they detuned it to 700 horsepower, I guess the only stop they had to make that was unscheduled was one of the headlights went out. So they had to come into the pits and put a new headlight in the car. But other than that, all their pit stops was scheduled. The car did not break down. And that is why the car won the race, because it was the most reliable car on the track, not the fastest. With that, I'm going to go ahead and boogie on out of here. So yeah, I got some serious thinking to do over these next few days and decide whether or not I'm going to get rid of my PlayStation VR, because I already have multiple headsets. I still have my Rift S. I still have 2 Oculus Quest 2s. And my son is getting ready to bring one of his Oculus Quest back over here because he's got 4 headsets himself. He has a HTC Vive, a Valve Index, a Quest 2, and a Quest 1. And I think he's getting ready to bring his Quest 1 back over here so we can use it as a backup headset. And again, as far as 2022 goes, this is only my 3rd time using this headset. And the headset is old. And there's just not that many games that I'm ready to jump up and play. Not because they're bad games, it's because I either already have the game on PC, because when you have both the PC version of a game and PlayStation VR version of the game, naturally the PC version is going to look and run better. And because of the Oculus Touch controllers, the game is going to be more immersive on PC. So yeah, a lot to think about whether I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this headset. But if I decide to get rid of this headset, I'm also going to get rid of my PS4 Pro along with it, because in my opinion, there would be no reason to keep it. I still have my PS5. And then at this point now, because of I have more than enough content on PC, that now I really don't care. VR is just a whole nother level. It is, J-Wags, and in my opinion, you have to experience VR on PC. There are so many more games. PlayStation VR offered you a ton of games, but there's a lot more games on PC. And if you like racing, there are so many racing games on PC that support VR, and you can race these games against a full grid online. Look no further than probably the hundreds of Assetto Corsa Competizione streams that I have done. Because I think just about every one of those streams on PC was in VR. So if you're still passionate about VR and you have a gaming PC, J-Wags, I would recommend um, getting an Oculus Quest 2, and you can use that as a you can use that as a PC headset. He said even PSVR is crazy. Might not look that great, but the immersion is unmatched. Yeah, you got that absolutely right, my guy. Um, and I do have to thank PlayStation VR because they are the ones that got me into the VR scene. Um, Gave me a wow feeling like I had never ever had in gaming before. It's just that PC took it to the next level. See, with the Quest 2, J-Wags, you are getting a standalone headset. The Oculus Quest 2 is basically the Nintendo Switch of VR headsets. You can play games standalone. You can use the headset as a standalone and play games within the headset. Or you can use a USB 3 cable and connect it to your gaming PC and use it as a PC headset and play PC VR games on there. So it's a 2-in-1 headset if you have a gaming PC. And if you have a gaming PC, I would definitely recommend the Quest 2 because you have two different avenues to play VR games. And then some of those games are cross-buy. Case in point, a game like Contractors. Contractors is a first-person shooter game on PC. It is basically Call of Duty in VR. If you buy Contractors on the Oculus Quest in the Oculus Quest store, you also get the PC version for free. So when you connect your headset to a PC, you'll be able to play the PC version of that game, which looks much better because you're using a much more powerful machine. Because the Oculus Quest 2 has a mobile headset in it. So yeah, if you have a gaming PC, so I can take that shit anywhere and play VR. Yeah. It is the Nintendo Switch of VR. You can pack it up in a case, take it to one of your homies' cribs. I mean, you could even take it to your local park. You can even like go to a park where everybody playing basketball and play VR outside. The only thing is you have to do it in the shade. You can't do it outside in the sunlight because what happens is the sunlight comes in and hits those cameras, and the cameras act as a magnifying glass, and they'll fry the circuits within the headset. So if you ever use the headset outside, you have to do it under a tree. Does it got rid of it? Yeah. Yeah, they redid it in VR. J-Wax, listen to me, bro. Listen to me carefully. Go through my library. What happened is I've been looking into a PC. Got a beefy PC now. I'm sorry. So listen to me, J-Wax. So what happened with the Oculus Quest is there's a VR modder by the name of Dr. Beef. And what he has done is nothing short of amazing. He has taken old Xbox 360 games and modded them for the Oculus Quest. So Doom 3, he modded it for the Oculus Quest. And you can play Doom 3 on the Oculus Quest. Go through my library and you'll find it in there. Just like go through my library, type in Doom 3 and you'll find that stream. He also did Return to Castle Wolfenstein and did a VR mod for that game. Same deal. Go through my library, type in Castle Wolfenstein, and you'll see the stream for that. Oculus saw what he was doing and saw how he was making money off of that. So they got into the act and they redid Resident Evil 4 in VR. So it's the same game, but they reformatted it for VR. Same deal. Go through my library, type in Resident Evil 4, and you'll see the stream that I did for that game as well. Because I think now, J-Wags, I think I got about 1,800 videos and streams and shit. So I got a ton of material, especially when it comes to VR. So yeah, not only that, the Resident Evil 4 for the Oculus Quest, they just added like a challenge mode. I think it's kind of like a zombie mode, but you get points for like certain ways that you kill the zombies. And it was a free, it was like free DLC or free content or whatever. And so yes, and it is the full Resident Evil 4 game in VR. And I believe I believe the actual Resident Evil 4 game is like 15 hours of gameplay. So you are the VR king. I'm mad Resident Evil 8 had no VR. You can play it in VR. You can play it in VR, J-Wags, if you have a PC. This is how far out of the loop that people are when it comes to VR. There's a program called Vorpex, and it takes any flat screen game and creates a VR profile for it and allows you to play that game in VR. Some of them were done very well. Some of them were not. And then there are well-known modders like Luke Ross. Luke Ross is like he's one of the most well-known VR modders out there. He has created VR mods for Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, I think Death Stranding, and most recently, I think he also did Cyberpunk 77, and most recently he did Elden Rings. He modded those games so you can play them in VR. The only catch to those ones is you have to join his Patreon to get the necessary programs. So that Quest 2, you can play anything flat. In terms of like not from the standpoint of that you can just boot up anything flat and play it in VR. That's where that Vorpex program comes in that I was telling you about. It latches itself onto a flat screen game and creates a VR profile for it that allows you to play the game in VR. This is on PC though. This isn't this isn't within the Quest. This is on PC. And some of the VR on the Vorpex program, some of them were done pretty good from what I understand. Some of them were not. The ones that were not done that good look like you're playing. It looks like you're at a theater playing something on a giant 3D screen. The ones that were doing right, the ones that were done right, you are actually in the game. There are tons of games out there that have VR mods for them. For instance, Alien Isolation. Somebody did a VR mod for that one, and it's free. And go through my library, type in Alien Nation or whatever it's called, Alien Isolation. Type in that game, and you'll see my stream for that game because I did that game because I played that game in VR, and it actually looks pretty good. It's you're actually in the game. The only catch to the game is that the cutscenes were flat screen. Once you go back into the actual gameplay, then you're back inside the game. So, all that being said, this is another reason why I was saying that I don't really need my PlayStation VR anymore, and I don't have to wait for PlayStation VR 2 to come along, because on PC there is a shit ton of content that nobody knows about. Because these are mainstream people that's just now finding out about the Oculus Quest and all this shit, is and all this content has been out there for God knows how long. Not to mention the bangers that you got on PC, the AAA VR games on PC, like Lone Echo and Half-Life Alyx, Sniper Elite VR. Those are just a few of the AAA games. So yes, if you have a gaming PC, I gotta admit, I don't know much about PC VR. Man, stay close to me. I got you. So if you got a gaming PC, that's the biggest reason why I recommend the Oculus Quest 2. Is because when you're ready to leave and go somewhere, you can pack that headset up and take it with you. When you get to the crib, if you want to play better looking games, the PC, plug it into your PC and it turns into a PC headset and you can play the VR games that's on your PC. And if you want to take it a step further, you could play your PC games wirelessly because there's an app called Virtual Desktop. And basically it allows you to play your PC games wirelessly in the Oculus headset. 5900X30. Oh shit, you good. That should be plenty. Cause me, I got the latest with the CPU. I got the i9-12900K. I've got a 3080 Ti with 64 gigs of RAM. But that, I did all that shit, man, cause I spent J-Wags, I spent like over $8,000 on my racing cockpit on both of my gaming PCs. So yeah, you got plenty. You said Megatron. You mean Voltron? Yeah, you got Voltron. You got Voltron and Voltron Jr. Well, yeah, you got more than enough. That 5900X and that 3080 with 32 gigs of RAM, you got more than enough. So I can definitely recommend the Quest 2. The Quest 2 is $300. And there's a lot of games out there. You name it. You tell me what kind of game you want to play. There's a VR game out there for it. There's even slices of sports games out there. You can play football in VR with 2MD football. You can play basketball with a game called Gym Class. You say, yeah, I'm gonna hop on it, bet. Let me know when you get it, J-Wags, and I'll definitely make sure I'll shoot you that friend request on the Oculus app so we can hook up. Another game I definitely want to recommend, J-Wags, and you can buy this on both. You can either buy this on PC or you can buy it on the Oculus Quest. You can buy the Quest version or you can buy the PC version. And that is Premium Bowling. If you want to bowl in VR, go through my library, type in Premium Bowling, and I got about five or six streams that I did on that. There's golf games. There's a game called Experience Golf Club that I think is the best golf game on VR right now for the Oculus Quest. The developer of that game invited me into his beta, and I provided feedback to him, like, hey, this was running funny, that was acting funny, and he was taking all that feedback to improve the game. The game is called Experience EXVR. It sounds like experience, but it's called Experience Golf Club. I've got several streams on that. Check that. You said why you need that, bro? Because you got Switch Sports. Because with Switch Sports, you playing the game, but you looking at a TV screen. The sports games that I'm telling you about, you actually on that golf course. You in that golf course. You actually inside that bowling alley instead of throwing the ball at the you said just kidding? Yeah. Man. And like the first time I ever played VR Sports Challenge on the Oculus Rift, when I walked out onto that football field and I looked up and I seen all these thousands of fans and shit like that, it was crazy. Just Switch Sports let you down? Yeah. These games that I'm talking about, 2MD football, the graphics ain't quite there. But there is an official NFL game coming this year called NFL Pro Era with official NFL teams. Look it up on YouTube. It's called NFL Pro Era. Check it out. And if you're a sports dude, I think you might like this game. I think the game is going to come out in August because with this game being an official NFL game, I think it's going to come out in August right before the actual football season starts because the timing would be perfect. You get people in that football mood. And so I'm looking forward to it myself. So, yeah, I've been on here for quite a while, but I definitely enjoyed chopping it up with you, J-Wags. Not only that, man, I'm gonna hit you up on yeah, I'm gonna switch it up. Thanks for the info. I said I got you, bro. Um, I could, man. By the time I get done flapping my yap about all the stuff, man, I ain't gonna have no voice left. But um, I got friends on YouTube, and then I got real cool friends, and those are like, so simply put, man, I will be in touch with you, and I'm just gonna shoot you my number, and we can kick it off of Twitter and stuff like that, man. So we can text back and forth off of Twitter and that kind of stuff, man. So I'm gonna shoot you my number, man. And I'm glad you're back, man. I really enjoy the content. I miss those J Wags rants. I'm so glad you're back. And when you put out that video on Saturday, and I showed my son the phone and saw that you had uploaded a new video, he had the biggest smile on his face. So yeah, man, like when we sat down and watched that video together, and then the video you put out today, I listened to it from work. So yeah, man, so glad you're back. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and book you on out of here. I barely got any voice left. I gotta get up and get everything for work in the morning. Oh yeah, no doubt, Wags. Appreciate it, bro. And we will see y'all on the next stream. I think tomorrow I'll probably stream GT7 and do the new daily race that they have for this week. And then from there, later on in the week, I'm sure that I'll be streaming some Assetto Corsa Competizione on PC in VR, which is the only way to race. If I don't do an Assetto Corsa mod, and we will go from there. With that, everybody, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. My friend Ham is coming out with a video pretty soon. I think relative to this subject that I've talked about. So definitely be on the lookout for his video. That's Ham VR, HAM space VR, Ham VR. Go check out his channel, sub to his channel. Be on the lookout for his next video. And yes, sir. Peace. All right. And with that, now it's time to get out of here. Because the voice is getting raspy. The throat is starting to burn. So we got to get on out of here. with that, everybody, thanks for watching. We'll see y'all on the next one. Until then, you guys know the line. Wakanda forever. Long live the king, and deuces. We will see you all soon. Everybody have a good one.